Some episodes may contain graphic content or sensitive topics, while all episodes will consistently feature offensive language and absurd speculations from two opinionated women on a spiritual journey just trying to figure shit out. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, I'm Heather.
And I'm Sharon.
Welcome to Hacksaven.
Welcome to Hacksaven. And we have a couple of different cults that we want to talk to you guys about today. We're going to do a bit of a fun episode.
Yeah. Sharon told me that she discovered a cult out of Wisconsin, which
It's Illinois.
Oh, it's
Midwest.
Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay, Midwest.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and you told me not to Google it, so I didn't. So now I'm very, very curious.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Should we start with that one then?
Sure, yeah. Let's do it.
I'll take you back to 1950s, right? In Chicago. So actually, I think it's Oak Park.
Okay.
Which is like, I think, a suburb of Chicago. What do you think your life would be like if you lived in the 50s?
Oh, God. Unfortunately, I would probably be married and I would be a housewife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Mm-hmm. Me too.
Yeah.
I was thinking that on the way over here, like, where would we be if we were back, like, alive in the 50s? And I was like, I bet you Heather would have still been stuck with your kid's dad, married and unable to get divorced.
Right.
And I would not be nearly as opinionated as I am, for sure.
Absolutely.
But
yeah,
so
I
imagine,
would be wearing an apron all the time.
Yep,
and vacuuming in high heels.
Oh,
that's what I picture.
Advantageous, yeah.
Yeah, like Cosmopolitan from the 1950s, where the lady's vacuuming in her high heels.
Right.
And like, oh, honey, you're home. Let me make you a cocktail.
Okay, so imagine you're home, making your husband a cocktail and making dinner for the family, and you turn on the news and you see a group of about 20 to 30 people just kind of standing around singing Christmas carols and waiting for the UFOs to come down and rapture them.
Is it Christmas time?
It is Christmas time.
Okay.
It is Christmas time.
So
I forgot that part.
That's not too off the wall then. I mean,
no.
If it was June and they were doing this, that would be even. So the news is reporting?
Oh, yeah. And they're your neighbors. These people are your neighbors.
Oh, so like the news reports coming from your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Boy.
Well, that's what would happen to a lot of Midwestern housewives in the 1950s. In Chicago, when a cult developed called the Seekers. Ooh. The Seekers of Chicago. So they were a Midwestern-based doomsday cult. And they took root in the 50s, and their development was fueled by the belief in apocalyptic prophecy and extraterrestrial salvation.
What?
Yeah.
Why do so many cults go to the alien?
So actually, I found out this was one of the first recorded UFO cults. Apparently, there's a whole subcategory of cults that are UFO cults. I guess I wasn't really aware of that. I do know that there's some extraterrestrial elements of some cults, but I didn't realize they had a whole subcategory to themselves.
Scientology.
Scientology.
Their main thing is some alien Zorp or something is going to come get them. I don't know.
So this cult blended spirituality with cosmic intervention, and it earned them the recognition of the first ever UFO religion in the 20th century.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So they were led by a woman named Dorothy Martin.
A woman-led?
A woman-led cult, but it's a little bit, we'll get into the details, but
okay.
It was really kind of led by two people.
Okay.
But Dorothy Martin was the one who had the divine power to talk to the aliens.
Oh.
So she believed that the apocalypse was coming in the form of a natural disaster. Thought that tidal waves would come from the Gulf of Mexico and flood the whole Mississippi River, and pretty much the whole middle of the country would be taken out and flooded.
Oh.
And then there would be massive earthquakes that would just rip land masses apart. So she convinced her followers that there was a race of aliens from a place called Clairion that would swoop down and rapture them before the shit hit the fan. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so Dorothy was the group's leader. There was also another leader called Charles Loghead. And I want to talk about Charles because really, Dorothy is the one who had the power to speak to these otherworldly beings, but Charles is the one who made it public. And
so he's like the one recruiting the people.
For sure. I mean, to an extent, a little bit. It seems like she wanted to keep it just a small group of literally Midwestern families in the suburbs. And he wanted to go public and tell the world about it.
Okay. Longhorn. What nationality was he?
It's Loghead.
Loghead.
Yeah, L-A-U. I call him Loghead because I'm not real sure about this guy.
Okay, all right.
But it's L-A-U-G-H-E-A-D.
Okay.
So it's either Loghead or Laughead.
Okay.
Either way.
Okay.
Loghead. All right, so let's talk about Dorothy a little bit. So she was from Chicago, and by all accounts, she was pretty much just your normal Midwestern neighbor and housewife. She was always interested in theology and spirituality. And then in the 50s, there was a huge surge of information surrounding UFOs, sightings and alien abductions that were on the news and stuff. So it's something that she just kind of became really interested in. And she just started to lump the extraterrestrial elements in with theology and spirituality. After her father died is when everything really kind of started. She began to believe that she was communicating with her father through a process of clearing her mind, I would assume through like meditation.
Okay.
And then she's just putting pen to paper. And her thoughts were at the end of that session, whatever words were on the paper were the words that her father wanted to say to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she was channeling him.
She was channeling him.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dorothy was married to a man named Harold, who seems honestly like a sweetheart.
Aww.
But he and her mother both dismissed her claims when she started saying like, "Oh, I'm talking to my father," you know?
Well, you see like shows with mediums and stuff, and they'll have like a notebook where they sketch or they like write things as they're absorbing information.
Yeah, I've seen it in a lot of movies like Insidious, I want to say, or like the Insidious movies. Or no, not Insidious. It's The Conjuring.
Oh, The Conjuring.
I think they do it in The Conjuring where the medium is like either writing words or doing a picture or something like that.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I can see if you think you're clear in your mind, where are these words coming from? They got to be coming from somewhere.
Right.
So, and that was something that probably brought her comfort, you know, to think that her father was able to speak to her from the other side.
Absolutely.
But, you know, even though Harold and her mom dismissed her claims, they didn't tell her that she was stupid for believing that. They didn't discourage her from doing it. They were just like, if that's what you believe, cool.
Okay.
Which I think is like for Harold.
Yeah.
He's
what
just
a supportive husband for the day.
Yeah, for the time, for sure.
Like, as long as that meatloaf's ready, you believe what you want to believe, baby.
There's a lot of husbands that would just have their wives committed.
Absolutely.
Like, this bitch fucking crazy.
Oh, Betty May. Even if she's take one of those sleeping pills and go on to bed now.
Even if she's not crazy, I don't want to fucking deal with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, he stood by her, and so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, Harold.
But over time, things kind of started to warp for Dorothy, and this voice no longer belonged to her father. Now, she believed it belonged to another being. She named this being Elder Brother. And Elder Brother apparently, chastised her father for being obsessed with earthly things. I didn't really look too much further into it, but it just was something that was mentioned in the Chicago Sun.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'll mention it. I just thought it was kind of weird. Like, she went from, I need to connect with my father, and now this being is, telling me that my father
was bad for having worldly possessions?
Yeah. Weird. Mm-hmm. But that's okay, because Elder Brother wouldn't last too long. Soon, the voice would be replaced with a being named Sananda. I believe that's how you say it. It's Sananda.
Okay.
Sananda, or Sananda. So Sananda was supposedly the leader of a group called the Guardians. And he chose Dorothy to be his messenger and bring cosmic intelligence to humans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, whatever. So I guess It was reported that Dorothy had some difficulty understanding the messages that she was receiving from Sananda. She began to go to like New Age events and workshops around the Midwest. And it was at one of these workshops where she would meet a man named Charles Loghead. This man was into UFOs, and he was a Christian missionary.
Interesting.
Yes, he worked on the student health staff at Michigan State University.
So when was Roswell? Do you know? I'm wondering if this like sparked interest in people. 1947.
Okay.
Maybe.
And that was in New Mexico?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which they claim now was a weather balloon.
Really?
Or they claimed at the time it was a weather balloon. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think I know very much about it.
You don't know about Roswell?
I don't. If I do, it's not like clicking for me.
Girl, it's the most infamous place. Like a UFO literally landed there, and our government and military covered it up. They tried to say that it was a balloon.
Oh.
And then now it's still the most guarded military site ever. Like you cannot just walk on there. People try to go there all the time, like TikTokers and YouTubers, and the military will stop you dead in your tracks and put you in prison for going there.
Jesus.
Like, but there's
it's
nothing
like Area
there to
51.
see.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. Well, isn't that Area 51?
Is it?
In Roswell, New Mexico? Isn't that what it is? Yes. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold
okay.
on.
You might be right. I don't know.
Let me look, but I think that's Area 51 was in Roswell.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
hold on.
When you said Roswell, I'm thinking that like you're talking about like an event.
Oh.
I did not put the 2 and 2 together.
I think-
Area
let me
51 in Roswell. Do you remember that like a couple years ago when there was that weird fucking craze where everybody was going to storm Area 51?
That's what I'm talking about, yeah. See, Area 51 is in Rachel, Nevada, a small remote community. It's north of Las Vegas. So then what is Roswell?
Roswell is something different because I just saw there's like a whole TV series on it.
Oh, yeah, it's really good, too.
So
Have you ever watched it?
No.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good. There was one made like in the 90s, maybe, or the early 2000s. I get that mixed up.
Okay.
And then they made like a more current one, and they're both really good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, you know what? I'm thinking Area 51 is the big one that's still protected by the government and people can't go there.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one God, when they started that craze, remember there was like a Facebook group, like Let's Storm Area 51?
Yeah.
I was in the driveway at Wendy's.
And people went there.
Oh, did they?
And they like...
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. They did. I remember. But yeah, so when that was all happening or like starting, I was in a Wendy's drive-thru, and the guy started out before even saying like, "Can I take your order?" He goes, "Do you want to storm our Area 51 with us?" And I was just like, "Sure." And he's like, "All right." You hear like a bunch of other people screaming in the background.
Oh my God. So Roswell, New Mexico is famously known for the alleged 1947 UFO incident.
Cool.
Okay. Well, all right.
I'm going to have to look into that more.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. But now let's talk about this loghead.
Loghead.
Charles Loghead. Okay, so he was, like I said, he was into UFOs and a Christian missionary. My impression of Charles through my research is that he was pushy and overbearing. A control freak and possibly a fucking narcissist, honestly.
Once again, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Wait, you're Christian, but
he's a Christian missionary.
But you believe in aliens as well.
Yeah, lots of people believe in aliens.
But they're not Christian missionaries.
Probably.
I mean, are aliens in the Bible?
No, but people who are Christians also have other things outside of being Christian.
That's true.
Like, for most people, the idea of aliens and religion is not the same thing.
No.
You know? So, like, yeah, I could see it. Okay. You know?
Yeah. When I think of someone being like a Christian missionary, I think of them as someone that's committed to their faith.
Yeah.
So believing in something else, having existence, doesn't really, work with the belief of being a missionary.
Yeah, in some sense, I guess I could see that argument, but I don't know. I know a lot of people that are like pretty into Christianity and stuff, but like they believe in aliens.
Okay.
I've never really come across somebody who was like, I believe in God, so I don't believe in aliens. I'll just say that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
But that would be admitting that there's more out there to the universe than just what the Bible tells you.
Well, I mean, I think that now, especially now, like, you can't really deny that there is with, like, science.
Right.
So I think...
What's science?
Yeah. Oh, God, don't get me started. Come on. It's been a rough week.
Oh, hell.
No, I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure there probably are some people who are like, I believe in Christianity and I don't believe that the dinosaurs are real. There's shit like that. So to me, it's the same thing as in aliens. It's something that nobody who has ever lived has seen. So a lot of people are going to have a hard time believing it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On to Lughead.
So, no, actually, what we're going to do now is kind of pivot. I'll talk about Charles Lughead a little bit later.
Okay.
Let's talk about how Dorothy, as a little Midwestern housewife, was able to get this kind of reach. She really didn't have a very large reach. So to gain followers, she would throw little house parties.
Oh, my gosh.
And she would invite all her friends to come over. And one of the group meetings, one woman made cupcakes in the shapes of little flying saucers.
Oh, that's really cute.
Isn't it? I really imagine it just being like a Tupperware party.
That's what I was going to say, is a Tupperware party, for sure.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what she would do is the husbands would all kind of gather in the other room and like talk with Harold. And she would sit down with these people, her friends, one-on-one, and allow them to ask Sananda questions. And then she would write the answers down for them.
Interesting. So do you know, were they asking questions about Sananda, or were they asking questions about themselves? Do you know what kind of questions?
I didn't really see anything on the types of questions, but I imagine probably a good mix of both.
Okay.
You know?
Because I feel like to get people in, you would want like a question about yourself. Like, are me and David going to have a baby soon?
Yeah.
You know, like, they're not going to be like, how old are you, Sananda? Because she could say anything.
Exactly.
You know, so there had to be something where that's validated her in some way.
Right. Well, and maybe it was more of a conversation where, like, because I'm sure people were skeptical at first.
In
so
the
they're
50s,
probably like,
I'm surprised their husbands left.
What number am I thinking of right now? Like, some shit like that. Yeah. You know?
1 through 10.
What color is my bra?
They probably only had white ones back then.
Yeah. But I'm sure so it would probably start with, you know, them testing the waters to see if she was believable. Yeah. And then, who knows?
I mean, I feel like, I don't want to be sexist, but I feel like women might be more open to things like that than men are at that time. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they said like, oh, no, we're going to have a Tupperware party and then you can go over and talk to Harold if you want to come, you know?
Oh, no. It was full families.
Okay.
That were invested.
Wow.
Yes. So there wasn't a lot of them. The reports I saw said between like 20 and 25 people max.
Okay.
It was more approached with like curiosity.
Okay.
Than like belief, I think, you know?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It was reported, and I'll tell you a little bit more later on how, but there was probably only around like 8 people who were actually like diehard believers within the cult.
Okay.
They didn't really do anything crazy. There was no, like, sexual element like you see with most cults or anything like that. Like, they're not wife swapping.
Right.
The,
what
like, most notable...
I'm just kidding.
The most notable things that this group did was stop smoking cigarettes and they stopped eating meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean... Stop smoking cigarettes. That's good for you.
Both healthy decisions.
Yeah, healthy decisions for sure.
I mean, I love meat, so I would never stop eating meat.
I know, me either. But that's okay.
Carnivore.
Progressive vegetarians for their time. That's fine.
Yeah. So Dorothy prophesied that the Guardians were going to come on December 21st of 1954. To save them as the world was destroyed by the tidal waves and all the Gulf of Mexico imploding half of America and all that. She said that they would spare the worthy.
Oh, okay. That's a common element, right?
Yeah.
To a cult.
At this time, Dorothy was not comfortable going like into the public eye, and she wanted to keep her prophecy to herself.
Okay.
But Lughead, he had different ideas. So he made her apocalypse prophecy public knowledge. He worked for the University of Michigan, so I'm sure he was telling everybody at the college. Mm-hmm. And it did kind of gain some national attention pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure he had like access to scholarly journals and newspapers that would want to
talk about it
and write about it for sure.
And like most of the articles I looked at were from the Chicago Sun.
Right. And that's
I'm sure he
for the 50s, that's
a
huge newspaper. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it may still be a huge newspaper.
It is still a newspaper, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So as the national attention gained, there was obviously some real world consequences that would hit for both Dorothy and Charles.
Okay.
For Dorothy, she had children who would come and knock on her door, and they would ask her about the aliens. Obviously, other parents were not exactly thrilled about that, and they would call the police on her and make complaints that she was filling their children's heads with bullshit. And
wait, so they're like ding-dong ditching her?
Kids in the neighborhood just knocking on her door like, can you tell me about the aliens?
So then that's her fault? They're coming to her door.
I know. I felt bad, you know.
Oh, gosh.
So the PTA inevitably ended up confronting her, and they demanded that she stop peddling her rhetoric to local children, which is awful. She's like a really small, docile-looking lady, you know, like mousy kind of, I would use to describe her. So she's probably just like, I'm just trying to live my life, you guys.
Right.
Like, I didn't ask for these kids to come and ask me anything.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
But after this confrontation, she did not want to leave her house, and she really, really tried to stay removed from the public eye.
Oh.
Many of her followers, they ended up quitting their jobs. They stopped studying for their finals and thought twice about making big purchases and life decisions. Like one of them,
because they're really thinking the end is coming.
The end is coming. So like
why
I'm not
should I
replacing
make my next car payment.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make my next car payment. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dishwasher broke. My
why
washer
fix that
broke.
shit?
Yep. Fuck that.
Right.
Don't need that on Clairion.
Did they have dishwashers in 1950? I don't know.
No, they did. They did because it was a specific example that I saw in the paper.
Oh, okay.
That one person didn't fix their dishwasher.
Time melts together for me. I'm like, I don't know. Good for them. They were progressive. They had a dishwasher.
Oh, did I?
To this day, it's not something that's in every household.
Right.
You know? So.
I don't have one now. I wish I still fucking did.
Oh, I'm telling you, I can't live without it.
Right.
And it's just me. So I can't imagine how much you have to do the dishes when you have a house of 5.
Oh, God, it's awful.
Yeah. Oh.
It's awful. I'm glad that I have a large family, though, because I don't have to do dishes that often.
Right. You can rotate and...
But I have to deal with all the complaining.
Oh, right.
Why do I have to do the dishes?
Did you eat?
Do you live here? Did you contribute to the mess? Then you have to help.
Right.
I forgot to mention, though, Charles, when everything started going national, he was kicked out of his church, and he was fired from his job at Michigan State University.
Oh.
So that's what he wanted, though. He wanted everybody.
Lughead?
This is Lughead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Loghead.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to call him Loghead anymore.
I like Lughead.
I like Lughead.
I like
too.
Lughead.
I thought you meant her husband.
No,
like,
Harold.
Aw.
Her husband's name is Harold Martin.
Okay. So but that guy, he wanted this exposure.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt less bad for him.
Oh, I do
than I do for Dorothy.
That's why I had to take back my
Yeah.
So I was like, wait a minute.
Fuck you,
Lughead.
But from everything that I saw, like him losing his job and getting kicked out of the church, it didn't deter him because he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing.
Well, at that time, he's a man.
Yeah.
And he can do that.
Yeah. Yep. So here is where another element, a third party, enters the story that I'd like to address, and his name is Leon Festinger. He is an American psychologist. He saw the opportunity to study how we as humans react when our beliefs are directly challenged. So when he came across the Seekers of Chicago, he was studying at the University of Minnesota, but he had previously studied and graduated from the University of Iowa. And he studied under a man named Kurt Lewin. I didn't really look into this dude, but I did see, he was an influential figure in, American social psychology.
Okay.
So Festinger sent some college graduates to infiltrate the Seekers and take notes on their behavior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I guess, it sounds like it was like kind of they had to walk like a real thin line because you have to maintain observing the cult and reporting on what's happening without changing anything.
Right.
So you have to figure out, these kids had to figure out how to get the cult to trust them, even to let them in.
So they had to go to like a Tupperware party.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It sounded like from what I listened to a podcast called Omnibus about this, and what they were talking about is like the kids it sounded like it was pretty easy to convince the cult. Like they would be like, oh yeah, I was abducted 3 years ago. And they were like, oh hell yeah, get in here. You're our people.
Oh, no way. So they used that angle.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goodness.
But it worked. So there was a bunch of like spies now, essentially, in this group.
That's wild.
Okay, so this is like an interesting fact that I found while I was doing my research.
You're giggling as you're looking at me, which makes me excited for what you may say.
All right. I just want to say that some people are real crazy.
Okay. I'm so excited for what this could be.
So at one point, one of Festinger's spies described this strange power struggle that occurred within the group. It was between Dorothy Martin and another woman who was just like a woman from the neighborhood. Her name was Bertha. This woman was a little jealous of Dorothy's popularity, which, most women were in the 50s.
Sure. Yeah.
But she hatched a plan. She began to tell the group members that she, too, was able to communicate with the Guardians.
Oh, you shiesty fucker.
And the person that she was able to communicate with was called the Creator.
Oh, boy.
During one of the gatherings, this bitch literally stands up and just exclaims, I'm going to go upstairs and give birth to Jesus Christ. If you want to see it, come with me.
What?
And she takes off up the stairs, and it sounds like the rest of the group was just kind of like looking at each other like, what the fuck?
I mean, as weird as it is, I feel like I'd want to go see it.
That's what I thought when I saw this. But it sounded like nobody went with her. Nobody followed her up the stairs. They were like, Bertha's acting wild again. Just let her get it out of her fucking... Just let her get it out of her system.
Just let her birth Jesus.
Yes.
She'll be back in 10 minutes.
Yeah, for real. And she was.
What the hell?
So she came back down a little bit later, and she said that she just given spiritual birth to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
So, what the fuck? So... I mean, like, was she really, like, upstairs in a bedroom, like, having
I have no idea. But I wish I was a fly on the fucking wall to see, like, even if no one's watching you, are you still keeping up this weird-ass charade?
I know. Like, running to the door and listening. Like,
right.
Oh, I think I hear a footstep.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really disappointed that no one went to go see what the fuck she was talking about. Because I would have been like... Okay, that woman's batshit crazy, but yeah, I'll go see what she's going to do.
Where is her husband? Because that one should go to the mental hospital.
Yeah. Fucking A. Holy crap.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Bertha. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, not related to the, the main plot, but I just thought that was absolutely wild. Yeah.
We need information like this.
Right. All right, so now let's jump to December 21st, the rapture.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So they gather at an air base. I guess Sananda had said that that's where the Guardians were going to first land.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, no alien rapture would occur when nothing happened. I guess they stood out there for a while, a couple hours.
How did they, like a military air base?
I just saw an air base.
Okay.
So I highly doubt it was a military. It was probably like...
Well, then what else would it be? I don't know.
Like a airport?
Okay.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I
mean, I'm guessing like security is way, way different now than it was before. But
yeah.
Can really a group of people go to an air base and be like, we're just waiting for a UFO to pick us up?
Yeah.
No worries.
Could you imagine, like at the end of a fucking...
the runway?
The runway.
Your plane can't take off. It's like, sorry, people, it'll be about 10, 15 minutes while we clear the tarmac of these alien...
Jesus.
Cult people? Like, good grief.
That would be funny. Yeah, so obviously no rapture occurred. And then Dorothy eventually revised her prophecy, and she said she misinterpreted it.
Oh.
So now the apocalypse was going to occur on Christmas Eve. Okay. And so the group went off and quickly adapted their views and went to prepare for the second coming of the Guardians. They gathered again on Christmas Eve, and they began to sing Christmas carols because it said, like, they waited, like, 15 minutes, and they're like, all right, where are you at, Sananda? You know? Yeah. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe if we sing, it'll, like, make them feel more comfortable.
Oh, that was nice of them. Let's welcome them with some Christmas cheer.
Yeah, so they're singing Christmas carols, and while they're doing that, a group of around 200 onlookers, they gathered outside. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is right outside of the Martin home, outside of Dorothy's house.
Oh, okay. So
they're doing this singing.
She's bold enough to be like, "This is the day we're gonna go carol out in my yard now."
Yeah, and like the papers had all reported that this was happening.
Oh, so there's like news reporters there, news vans.
Yep. So about 200 onlookers gathered outside of her home just to watch. They weren't believers. They just wanted to watch and see what would happen. So when the apocalypse did not occur the second time, the group again adapted their beliefs, and they determined that their prayers and their faith saved the entire world.
Oh my gosh, bless their hearts.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then with that, they literally all just went about their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I've never heard of this.
Yeah. So then after, like, as the crowd is dispersing, Harold, I think he like gets a phone call or something. Someone tells him, I don't know. Somehow he's informed that there is now a warrant out for Dorothy's arrest because of the large group that gathered.
Oh, they're going to blame it on her.
Yeah, they blamed it on her.
Oh, my gosh.
They issued a warrant for her arrest, and at this time, she fled to Arizona.
So what did it say what she was going to be charged with? Like orchestrating a mass demonstration without a permit or something?
That's what it sounded like. It's like a permit thing.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah. Even though really? Charles Loghead...
You can't give her like a $20 ticket. You got to put an arrest warrant out for her.
Yeah, even though fucking Lughead like was the one pushing it to the media. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he was telling people to come and watch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And she's the one who now has a warrant for her arrest and has to flee her home. Yeah. And from what I saw, too, it's unclear if Harold was even able to go with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, sad. But nevertheless, the cult disbanded after she was gone.
Sure.
Lughead, he tried to continue to push the story at alien conventions, but it sounds like people were just kind of like over it now. Like,
yeah, I'm sure that was his meal ticket. Yeah. Now that it's over. So,
yep. It seemed like he kind of just faded out of the public eye over time.
Yeah.
So after the Seekers, though, Dorothy went to Arizona, and she would go on to found the Order of Sananda and Sanat Kumara. And apparently they're both like entities that were part of the Guardians.
Okay.
So she began going by Sister Thedra. I assume probably to distance herself from the spectacle in Chicago, but it didn't like specifically say why she chose like a new persona.
And I feel like the western part there, like Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, like they're more open to alien existence. I feel like. Yeah. You know? And they're definitely more open to different things spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that, like, she did run another, like, UFO group in Arizona, but
awesome.
And this was it, but I didn't, like, look into it very far or anything.
Yeah.
So that's where Dorothy ended up. She eventually pretty much fell out of the public eye, and I really hope that she found some peace with that.
Right.
She was not comfortable with all the attention that she was getting.
Oh, I hope she was reunited with Harold.
I do too. But the one thing I did find was Mr. Lughead. He continued to attend those alien conventions in the Midwest. So as Charles is continuing to attend these alien conventions in the Midwest, eventually a mental examination of both Lughead and Martin, they were ordered by the court, which I'm assuming was because this became a public spectacle, and now there was legal repercussions tied to it.
Okay.
So they both did undergo that mental examination, and they were both found to be legally sane. So nothing wrong with the brains.
Was that to help like their credibility?
I think they were trying honestly, it was the 50s.
Right.
I think
That's
they
what
were
I'm saying.
trying to say, these people are crazy. We need to lock them up.
But if they're not crazy, then it seems like what they're sharing with you is legitimate
Right.
information. So
Yeah.
then it would lend to them to be credible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is very true. But so I didn't see if they, like Dorothy, ever went back and faced charges in Chicago. I don't think so.
Right.
It sounds like she just stayed in Arizona, fell out of the public eye, became like pretty successful as like Sister Thedra. Charles eventually did move his family down to Arizona to be closer to Dorothy, and he continued to seek her out for prophecies.
Wow.
So they spent the rest of their life together, like not together as like a couple, but, you know, talking about theology and UFOs and extraterrestrial shit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, when you talk about news in the 50s or 60s, how if there was breaking news and a news van went to it, you would like look back and see just crowds of people. Mm-hmm. I think it's because, you know, it was like a smaller area and it was like, oh, something's happening on the south side of town. We're all going to drive over there and look.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, so you don't really see that
Right.
much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so if there was like a news van, people were like, woo,
Right.
flocking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't remember the last time I saw a news report about something and they panned and there was a crowd of thousands of people or hundreds of people for
Just
that
protest
matter.
now.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting how the times have changed
For sure.
where that was a little more normal.
Yeah.
You know, for
Yep.
let's drive on over to this neighborhood and see what's all the fuss is about.
What's the hubbabaloo?
Yeah, hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo. The hullabaloo.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So Dorothy ended up passing away in 1992 when she was 92 years old.
Good for her. What a great long life.
Yeah. And then going back to Leon Festinger, the psychologist. Mm-hmm. So he wrote a book called When Prophecy Fails. This book coined the beginning of the theory of cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is a psychological concept that refers to the mental discomfort and stress experienced when a person holds two or more contradictory beliefs, values, or attitudes simultaneously.
Okay.
This discomfort often leads people to attempt to reduce the inconsistency and achieve mental harmony. Here are a few different ways that they might do this. First, changing their beliefs or attitude. For example, when the first apocalypse didn't happen. Oh, I just misinterpreted it. Now
Okay.
it's going to be on this day.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Acquiring new information that outweighs the conflicting beliefs or attitude. I don't really have a great example to put in for that one. And then reducing the importance of the conflicting beliefs to diminish their impact. And that would be evident when they were like, oh, we saved the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Like, we prayed so hard.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so the idea of cognitive dissonance really interests me because of the way that we can apply it to some of the things that we see today with, like, a lot of, like, the die-hard MAGA and, like, the QAnon stuff. Because,
Right.
like, you know, the QAnon stuff, for example, like, they're like, oh, well, Trump, there was a secret inauguration, and Trump is still the president, not Biden. And then it's like, but Biden's getting arrested on January 15th. And then when that doesn't happen, it's, well, that didn't happen because there was something that got messed up with
Sure.
the plan, and
Yeah.
now it's actually going to happen on March 20th. Like, that's how QAnon kind of has continued to go.
Well, why anyone would be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like,
But that's what they're doing. They're just
Yeah.
adapting their beliefs to avoid the feeling of cognitive dissonance.
Right. Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting.
It is.
Yeah, so that was when, like, they first started exploring that topic.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, you see it even, too, in, like, kids when they have a hard time accepting, like, this thing that contradicts something that you told them yesterday, you know? They don't understand the complexities of certain conversations and stuff.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
it causes them to get an attitude sometimes.
This is true.
Yeah, but no, like, even just, like, the complete rejection of, like, you could say the sky is blue, and I was like, no, the sky is purple. It's always been purple because of X, Y, and Z scientific fact. And you're just like, nah.
Right.
You know? Or the other way. Like you said it was purple and I said it was blue.
Well, technically, it's not blue.
It's not technically blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like rejecting like how new information could change your belief.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's it. That's The Seekers. That's all I got.
Yeah, that needs like a documentary on it, I feel like.
Right.
Some reenactments.
And that's what's crazy is like, I even had a hard time finding anything really on this.
Yeah,
like,
I've never heard of this.
I found a couple articles in The Sun. There's a lot on like Leon Festinger and When the Prophecy Fails. There's a lot of stuff on that book.
Okay.
And most of the information that I was able to find about the Seekers was from searching Leon Festinger and the book.
Really interesting. Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad you found it.
I know, me too. Like, I want to say the first time I heard about it was on an episode of Lore by Andrew Mankey.
I listened to that too.
Yeah, so I
really enjoy that podcast.
It was just like a little blurb that he did in one of those episodes, and I was like, first of all, it's nearby, it's local.
Yeah.
And I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
And it has aliens, so let's do it.
Checks all our boxes.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's mine.
Awesome. All right.
If you have any topic suggestions, please feel free to share them with us at hexhavenpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like more Hexhaven content before our next episode releases, please check us out on Patreon.
This episode of Hexhaven was recorded in the K-Town Connects podcast studio. Thanks for listening.